The old YZ250. If you missed the first video, I bought this thing for 1,200 bucks. The seller didn't exactly know what he was doing, missed a few key components when installing a new clutch, and just decided to call it quits. So I got the clutch installed properly and then got the bike running, but it runs like this. Apparently it doesn't run at all. Yeah, like that. So this thing came with a Lectron carb on it. I've not dealt very much with Lectrons. There is a slight possibility it's something else, but we're gonna start with the carb. Now, I apologize for the delay on this video. I have been busy finishing up my final video on this KTM 200, which is now live, and refreshing this thing for someone to win along with a riding trip out to Montana. So if you wanna win this super customized, super badass 06 KTM 200 complete with electric start, links to get entered are down in the description below, and the winner will also win a riding trip out to Montana to come ride some epic single track with me on your new bike. But with that said, back to the YZ250. Let's get this thing figured out. That first start was no choke. It didn't want it. Let's try it with choke. There's nothing consistent about the way this thing is acting. Let's choke down again. Now, before making any changes or digging too far into the bike, I spent some time running the bike again to see if I could get it to behave consistently. After a little bit of time, the bike began to idle and rev up normally. I decided I would try spinning it up and down the block one more time just to get an idea of if the carb tuning was anywhere close in terms of performance, and this happened. We may have serious transmission problems, but check this out. Fire's right up. She's idling now. Revving up. I don't want to pop this thing into gear too many times, but clutch fully in. It's rough. It's a rough shift. Oh yeah, dude, we got problems. Something's slipping in there like crazy. The clutch wants to disengage and then it jams itself in gear. I bet we got a bent shift fork or something of the sorts, but I don't want to make too many assumptions about what the previous owner did or didn't know about what was going on with this thing. Makes me curious if he thought maybe whatever's going on in this transmission was actually a clutch issue, hence him buying a brand new Hinson clutch to try and install. Who knows the real story? Obviously, I'm never gonna find out. It's interesting that in the first video, this transmission issue did not present itself when I shifted into gear. There's gear. Who knows exactly? I won't really know until I look inside this. But what I do know is this motor needs to come out because that is an aggressively rough shift into first gear. Something is off in there and it definitely needs to be inspected. So as it goes, how often is a $1,200 YZ really that good of a buy? I did get a comment about the gas. I did not replace the gasoline in this tank. I should have. That is something that you should do anytime you buy a bike, so that is on me. I suppose the odd non-idle burble issues from last video could have been gunk in the carburetor that has since sucked its way through the engine, because now the bike seems to idle and rev up without issue. But once again, that now presented us with a new issue of something going on within the transmission or shift mechanism. Might have bought myself a bit of a basket case, but always makes for a good learning experience and interesting content. Oh, so let's dive on in. Oh my God, who taught you that thing? Oh wait, that was me. There we go. This oil's brand new, so it'd be a shame to waste it. I have no idea if this container is 750 mil or not. We're about to find out. Yeah, this looks like it's about to be messy. Nah, professional. All right, once we drain this oil, we're gonna see how long it takes me to get the motor out of this frame. Put your guesses in the comment section down below. Winner gets a cookie. Actually, no. Winner gets a KP long sleeve t-shirt. No cheating. Is ready for disassembly on my red line scissor lift stand, and the time starts now. And time. The YZ250 motor is out of the frame and on my workbench. It was not my best time, it wasn't my worst. I will reveal this time in the next video, and whoever got the closest will win a free t-shirt. Now I will get this mess cleaned up and then start tearing this filthy old motor apart to figure out what is going on in that poor transmission. Is that a wasp? The discovery of some welding on the bottom of the crankcase indicates this bike has definitely seen some over the years. But at least it looks like a good weld. Eager to see what I would find between the case halves, I used my crank splitter to crack the cases open. Nothing was obvious with the transmission just by separating the cases, but it was very difficult to get the transmission removed. The countershaft did not want to slide out of its bearing and required a little persuasion. Once I got everything removed and started inspecting components, it became obvious this YZ has seen a lot of shifts since 2002. Two of the shift forks were significantly worn with sharp edges, and first and fifth gear were worn out as well. Everything else looked good and usable, but these components definitely need to be replaced to get this bike shifting smoothly, and it makes total sense that it shifted rough and the transmission would get hung up. Moral of the story, $1,200 YZs are rarely that good of a deal. I headed over to the Rocky Mountain website, which I've got linked in the description, and went to the OEM parts diagram for a 2002 Yamaha YZ250. I found the components I need in stock and ready to ship and got them ordered so I can get this YZ250 back up and running. So guys, I apologize for the long wait for the shorter episode, but I never could have imagined the transmission problems I would find inside this engine. Once again, I have found myself with a used dirt bike that I never intended to pull the engine out of, and here we are. This is not the first time this has happened, and it is probably not going to be the last. That said, I've got everything that I believe I need to get this bike back up and running ordered from Rocky Mountain. I should have it late this week. I am actually headed to Leavenworth, Washington for a mountain bike trip, but I will be home Monday. And the 32-to-1 Premix Classic is at Last Chance Raceway in Helena, Montana next weekend. So I have a very ambitious goal of seeing if I can get this bike back together by then and go race some motocross. Now, I am not very fast on a motocross track, but that is a sweet event, and it would be really cool to get this thing out on the track if I can get it back together. So if all goes to plan, which usually doesn't happen, but sometimes does, you'll be seeing episode 3 on this very soon. In the meantime, be sure to click that link down in the description to go get entered for a chance to win my KTM 200. That is going on for 1 more month. And if you need any parts, tools, or gear, the Rocky Mountain link is down below as well. That said, I can't wait to turn this thing back into a runnin', rippin' YZ250, so be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of these videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.